This is gonna be my honest, very first time I tried table tennis. Never done it. Obviously, I don't have a clue what I'm doing. So I'm gonna have Wally give me a quick 1, 2, 3 of the basics of how to be a beast. I don't even know what to do. I don't even know, do I go like this to look cool? Do I just bounce it? What do I do? I really don't know what I'm doing, but this looks cool. He brought up the pro ones. Oh no.
Hey, use this one. And you know I gotta get my specialty for you though. I beat people with these.
Literally.
They're only for playing, that's it. iPhone 6s. All the phones after iPhone 6 are glass and glass. This back is metal, and this is glass. So I get 2 different sides for 2 different feels when I play. So I use this for the forehand and this side for the backhand. So you have to toss it up and then hit it down. There you go. Hey, look at that. There you go. Yes. Yes. Oh, look at that. Yes, look at it. Up and forward. Good. Same thing. Up and forward. Good. Up and forward. Good. Up and forward. Good. Yeah. Here's my best. Let's see my best serve. Ready? Just like this.
Oh.
See how fast that was?
Yeah.
And then there's another one I do.
Hello everybody, welcome again to Start at Motivation. I'm your host, Jacoppo Balderrama, but you can call me Jaco. I found myself currently in New York with the one, the only, Mr. Wally Green.
Hey, how are you, man?
Thank you, good man. Good man, thank you for joining us. I know you have a lot of things going on. It's been a crazy couple of days for you, and we'll go into detail about that, but thank you.
Definitely. Appreciate you, man.
Oh, appreciate you too. I know we've been knowing each other for a while now through social media, and now, because everything lined up, we found ourselves physically here. For anybody watching this right now, who is Wally Green? Where did he grow up?
Well, I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, in Marlboro Projects. And I grew up with a really crazy, but interesting life.
Okay, so the projects, from anybody who might not know, you know, is a place definitely that there's a lot of set rules. There's street rules, there's street justice. Yeah. There's things that maybe as kids we shouldn't be exposed. So how was it for a young man to grow up in that kind of environment?
For me, it was really difficult for the reason that I grew up with a very narcissistic stepfather who abused my mom and abused me as well. And because of that, that led me to gangs at an early age, which was very easily accessible, you know, growing up in that kind of neighborhood. So, you know, I got into a lot of trouble. You know, at 13 years old, already owned 6 guns at 13. Just doing every single thing that a kid my age shouldn't be doing. That's exactly what I was doing.
Wow, so you got exposed to, I mean, you know, that environment almost inevitably, right? You're having to carry your own weight and watching your own back at a very young age. How as a kid did you deal with knowing that you were in that spot, in a spot where you couldn't let your guard down? How did that influence you?
I wouldn't say it was kind of difficult because it's something that you learn and it's something that you live with. You know, you always had to know who was around you, who was near you, who was down the block from you. Especially, you know, by the time when you're in a gang and running around doing these things. I think those things that happen to you when you're younger, they translate when you're older, right? I'm pretty much never at the wrong place at the wrong time, right? Because I always read everything around me. I know who's behind me, I know who's in front of me, I know who's going down the block. I know if a situation looks kind of iffy, I don't go that way. So some of these things, from my youth, they transfer to me now that I'm an adult.
And that's all merit on its own, right? That's to be respected because you per se took something that was rough, and at the time it doesn't feel good. Let's just be honest. You have to go through certain situations, but you took those skills and then you carry them with you. However we learn them, even if it's painful,
right? You
made them work for you. Now, during your childhood, what helped you kind of keep your head on focus and keeping yourself grounded to a point where you kept moving forward and maybe not fall behind?
I think the most important thing is that I didn't lose my humanity. I like to talk about this a lot. You know, there's 2 kind of people who live that kind of life. There are those who completely lost their humanity, And those are the kind of people that would unalive your brother and then sit with you at the table and have lunch with you like nothing happened. And then there are those who not second guess, but think about something that they've done and understand that what they've done is wrong. Maybe the circumstances warranted it, but they still understand what they've done is wrong and that they should not do it, or they should not be doing it. So I was that kind of person. I never lost my humanity. I always thought, oh, maybe I shouldn't be doing this, or maybe we shouldn't do that, or maybe we shouldn't go that hard, you know? And yeah, that was always me growing up as a kid.
Well, you mentioned that you didn't lose that human side, that little thing in your brain that tells you, hey, hold on, hey, this is gonna be bad. We've met, and I know for a fact, without knowing who or what, I know we've met those people that literally could do something that's so bad that, you know, you should be in jail, and next time, hey man, so you want a drink or what?
Yeah, seriously.
You're like, wait, bro,
Right.
you just did that. Like,
Yeah.
and they're like, nothing faces them.
Yeah, I knew a lot of people like that, and I just never, that was never me.
Were you starting to almost inevitably down that path?
I don't think that I would have ever lost my humanity. I think I'd have probably wound up dead or in jail for life before that would have happened. I think that's more of a character thing, right? More of who you are truly deep inside as a person, right? Because you can be all gangster and all hard and stuff, but a lot of times it's a front for the pain that you're feeling, right? So, and then sometimes, like I said, those who have lost their humanity, that's exactly who they are, and it's different. But for me, I always knew that what I was doing was wrong. I always knew that I shouldn't be doing this, and I always knew that maybe there was going to be a better way. I didn't know where it was coming from, I didn't know how it was coming from, but I always knew that it's possible that there was something going to be better for me in the future.
Oh, wow. Now, let's take you out of, you passed being a kid, you went through all that. What are some of the things as a kid that you enjoyed, some of the things you listened to, some of the things you like to snack on? Like your last meal, you have your very last meal till you leave this earth, what would be the last final meal, and what would you be jamming to while you having that last meal?
Yeah, I think for me, my last meal has got to be some sushi, bro.
Oh, really?
100. I gotta have some omakase. Maybe 18, 20 piece omakase.
Bring it to me, you will.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely the last meal. And man, I don't even know about a drink. Oh, probably a Coke. I'm weird. With my sushi, I need to have a Coke.
Really?
Yeah, it's just something that Coke with lemon is I'm weird like that, but I like the acid from the Coke that washes anywhere of the kind of like, what's the word I want to use, aftertaste or anything like that.
Do you think it pairs well with the sushi?
For me, it does. I think for most people it doesn't, but for me, it's my perfect thing.
I've heard wine, I've heard beer. I had never heard anybody said sushi and Coke.
And Coke, a Coke with lemon.
Wow.
And I do it weird too. So what I do is I open the can, I take the lemon, I push the lemon in the can.
Oh, kind of like when they do beer nowadays or Coronas.
So with the Coke, I do it kind of weird. I actually open the can, and then I take the lemon, push the lemon in the can, and I drink it like that. People look at me like I'm crazy. Like they give me a glass, they give me some ice, but I won't drink it like that. I need to take the lemon and push it in the can. And I only drink Coke in the can, by the way. It has to be in the can. If it's in the bottle, I don't want it.
Okay, interesting. I'm gonna ask you a question, and I'm only asking out of pure coincidence, all right? Don't judge me. Whenever you squeeze the lemon or lime, you actually press it, or you just push it as a whole?
I push it as a whole.
As a whole. And I'm gonna tell you, I've heard, don't judge me, with Coronas usually, or any beer, like in Mexico, you squeeze it, and then the reason why you push the lime when you squeeze it, because it releases that zesty oils from the skin, so it flavors the liquid.
Ah, so I gotta try that now.
Yeah.
I gotta try to squeeze it first and then push it through the hole.
Disclaimer is not for me. I've heard only about it. But yeah, try that out, and I promise you'll be much better.
I gotta try that.
Because the oils will float, so every time you sip it up, you'll take some of those.
I got that.
But okay, so sushi, Coke, and music. What are some of your influences? Like, if you're in your natural habitat, you're relaxing. What is some of the music that you listen to?
It's weird. So my music, I really don't have a music preference. When I was younger, I used to do a lot of hip hop, and I never used to listen to music. So my style used to always change, but it depends on what I'm doing. Like my music preference is also a little bit strange. So if I need to be highly motivated, let's say I'm gonna play a tournament, and I need to be really pumped up, then I'm probably gonna go to something that's really hard and fast. So it's probably like an EDM maybe.
Okay.
But like something really like something that's or even other music that pumps me up is also crump music. You ever heard of crump music?
Yes, heck
Crump
yeah.
music is another music that makes me like, really pumped up. But if I'm feeling like I'm angry, so let's say I'm going to go, because it's happened before, I'm going to go play a tournament, but I just feel stressed and angry, then I'll put on classical music. And then I listen to classical music, and I'll listen to that on the way to going, because classical music, it's hard for me to be angry and my brain like this when I listen to classical music. So I'll put on classical music so that will just kind of like bring my heart rate down and bring my head down.
There's an element to classical music, like for me, that when I hear it, I automatically imagine myself like in a suit.
Yeah,
like
right, exactly.
Like all bougie and stuff.
Exactly. It just it's a calming, I don't know, it's just very calming for me when I'm really like stressed out. But those are two, so it's like very two extremes.
I see that, but I can understand the wanting to wind down and relax, because with classical music, it is like a combination of everything complementing itself, right? So if you hear like the cello or if you hear the piano, it's a different kind of like concentration on that music versus listening to rap or hip hop, right? They all have their coolness to it.
Right.
But classical music, there's an aspect of all your attention in it, and you're like immersed in it. Almost close your eyes with it.
You're trying to hear all the different instruments at the same time. That kind of calms you down.
Yes. Well, I see that. I definitely see that. And as a kid, I know this is very important, and it's a sad truth. Sometimes we don't have that person that we look up to close to us. Not everybody's fortunate enough to have that person that's with them every single day that you look up as a hero, as a role model. But as a kid, going through all this, who helped you, or who did you look up to and said, man, thank you for your messages, or this is what keeps me going forward?
Man, as a kid, I didn't have that until later on. There was no one that I looked up to. I really didn't have any role models, and the people that I did look up to were people I shouldn't be looking up to. It wasn't until later in my life where someone came around and helped me. But before that, I kind of, I'm trying to think. Yeah, there's pretty.
And sometimes it's our own selves. Sometimes it's our own selves pushing us, right?
Yeah, it was always me pushing me. It was always me.
And what did you use to push yourself? Like, what would you tell yourself? What would you use like as an anchor?
That I'm not going to be here forever. I'm not going to be like this forever. I'm not going to be doing this forever. There's, I always thought there's always something going to be better. There's always going to be something better for me. So I always knew that, and then I just always kept, no matter how bad things got, I just always kept, just grinding and trying. And even while I was doing bad things, maybe don't do them as bad. No, seriously, I'll tell you a quick story. I remember when I was a kid, and it was like 10 of us, and they wanted to rob somebody. Well, they didn't only want to rob somebody, they wanted to beat the fire out of them. And I stopped, and I was like, listen, we don't need to do that. We're already taking his money in his wallet. We don't need to do that. So it's still bad that we robbed them, but in the end, it's still, not as bad as it could have been, right? And that's because I always knew that we shouldn't be doing this. And, they're in the future, maybe we have a chance later, And, you know, if you think about karma and stuff like that, you know, in my mind, it's like, hey, you know, I saved the dude from getting beat up, so maybe that's one good for me, even though we just robbed the guy. But still, it's still one better, right? You know, it's still, you know, it sounds crazy, but it's still a little tiny act of kindness, right?
Yeah.
In a terrible situation.
That was still a grain of hope per se somewhere
right,
in there.
Exactly.
Whoa. I'm glad you didn't lose that side of humanity, and like you said, I think that's the biggest factor that differentiates between people that get out of it and people, unfortunately, that are not here till anymore, right? Because of consequences of that life.
Yeah.
How was the school life? Was school something that you were into? Were you good at it? Did you have no interest on it, or what was the deal with that?
So school life was really funny because I needed sports in my life, right? And sports was the balance between the craziness that I was going through, right? So I was going through this craziness, and then now sports kind of numbed me to the craziness that was going on at home, right? So in order to stay on this team, you got to be able to pass your grades, right? If you fail, you can't stay on a team. And so I used to delegate my work to people, right? Because I had to stay on a team. And I would delegate my work to people, and it would be sort of, you know, if you help me, I'll help you. You know, I offer protection, and you help me pass my grades so that I can stay on the teams, which I needed. I really needed the sports. Sports numbed me to what was going on at home. You practice in the morning, then you practice in the evening, you have school all day, then you go home, and you know the craziness is going on, and you're just numb to it.
Oh, wow. So you used some of those skills that you got from that background, right, to keep yourself in the sports, at least something that you like doing, right?
Exactly. And like you said, it was something that I liked doing. It's something that I needed to do, that I wanted to do, and it was something that numbed me to, you know, the abuse going on at home, to my mom getting beat up. You know, it was something that when I went home, it was almost like I didn't care anymore, right? So I was just so tired, I was so exhausted, and I just couldn't, you know, I couldn't deal with it. And the sports helped me to just feel better.
I don't like concentrating in situations that ultimately give you great skills, and I believe in giving a positive message for anybody watching, anybody listening to your story. But I do want to just share one thing from you that you lived it. Anybody that might be watching right now, that might be sitting there kicked out of home, going through maybe the same situation, watching a loved one go under unfortunate circumstances where you might feel like you don't have power to do anything, or, and it has happened, you try and help out and you come out being the bad or the villain in the story at the end. What would you recommend anybody who's living that right now?
Well, I think, you know, the most important thing is it comes in two parts. And I say this often, you know, do not be afraid to ask for help if you really need help. And then even more importantly, do not be afraid to accept the help that's given to you. Because if I didn't accept the help that was given to me, I would be dead or in jail right now. I wouldn't even be here.
Whenever somebody tried offering you help, when you were in that situation, was your first instinct to be like, nah, I got it, or I don't need it?
Of course.
Don't worry about me.
100%. Always, you know, we want to feel, we want to be stronger than what we are. You know, we're taught men don't cry, you know, men are strong, be strong. And so, you know, of course. But I think that we need to understand that we're not superheroes, we're not Superman, right? And if we need the help, we should definitely get the help that we need.
If you're needing enough help, if you feel lost, if you feel like you don't know what's going on or what to do, please ask for help. You could be a total gangster and need help. You could be a superhero and need help. Heck, superheroes unite and beat villains all day long, right?
Facts.
You can hook up with another superhero that you don't know what they're going through, and y'all can conquer the world.
Yep, it's true.
And thank you for sharing that. I know, like I told you before even starting this, I don't like getting into those stories right too much. I like to get the best out of people. But I do believe that that's a message that often we hear, oh, you should do better, you should continue, move. But sometimes the how makes a lot of difference. And thank you for sharing that. There's nothing to be ashamed of in saying, I can't, I don't know,
Right.
I'm lost.
Exactly.
Wally, you go through school, you manage to form a little bit of distance in the street life and use some of those skills in school, even though you were kind of taking advantage of people, let's just be honest. But at the end of the day, for anybody who doesn't know how much of a savage you are in that table of tennis, you were actually in art still a professional table tennis player. How did you get introduced into that world? How does the street mix with table tennis?
It's crazy. The fact is, it doesn't even mix. I actually hated this sport. I despised this sport. They had it in my high school. I made fun of every kid that played it. When I was playing football, I used to walk through the lunchroom and see the kids playing and say, look at these kids with their short shorts and a stick. I was like, what kind of sport is this? Like, I totally hated this sport completely. But one day I was shooting pool, and to make a long story short, I got upset. I thought I was good. I wasn't. Broke my pool stick, and I saw some kids playing ping pong, and I thought, great, that's what I'm gonna take my anger out on.
Oh, wow.
Right? Because I used to blame everyone for everything that happened to me. Like, if I walked into a wall, it was your fault. Right? And I would take it out on you. And so I saw these kids playing, and it was perfect opportunity to take my anger out on someone. So I go up to them, I says, hey, I want to get a hit. And they said, do you play this? I said, I don't play this, just give me the paddle. So when the guy gave me the paddle and he hit the ball to me, I was actually trying to hit him in the face with the ball back. But somehow the angle of my racket was not in the right position to hit him in the face, so the ball went onto the table, and the guy goes, oh my God, that's amazing. You should go check out this ping pong club and all this craziness. And I was like, there's no way there's a place where people get together and play this. I said, it's impossible. I said, there's no way. And but like I said, I was an athlete, and the athlete in me started saying, hey, you know what? Maybe there is a place where people play, just to go check it out, right? And so I went and checked it out. And when I walked in, it was another pool hall, half ping pong. And the thing that got me very interested was that every single person who was playing was black. And I was like, wait a minute, black people play this? I was like, there's no way black people play this. But it was all black people that were playing, whether from Africa or from the islands, Caribbean, and they were all playing, making noise. I was like, whoa. And then that's how I got interested, because I was like, oh man, if these guys are playing, I should play this too, right? Because I had played every sport, basketball, football, tennis, volleyball, wrestling, you name it, I played it. And I was like, I'm interested. So that's how I first got interested in this sport, by seeing people like me actually playing.
So the moment you see somebody that looked like you, that sounded like you, you're like, you know what? Let me see what this is about. So that's pretty much it.
I was like, I got to do this too.
Okay.
Yeah, because like I said, I played every sport I could get my hands on, I played. And I said, oh man, if they're playing, I got to play too. Black people play this, I want to play too.
So whenever you went that, let's say that you went there that first day, it started and it didn't stop ever since.
Yeah, it didn't stop. Nope. It was non-stop from there.
Now let me ask you, as a former bully,
Yeah.
did you now did somebody try to bully you, or now you were sticking up for those who were now getting bullied like you used to bully them?
Nah, I stick up for. I've never been bullied before.
Okay.
I was a very violent kid growing up.
Yeah.
So I was not the one that was gonna get bullied. I didn't really bully people.
Uh-huh.
Like, I wasn't a bully. I wasn't a person like the people who did my work for me.
Yeah.
I didn't. It wasn't like you couldn't say no. You could say no. I just go to someone else, right? But it wasn't like you couldn't say no. People didn't say no because they were scared. So it's different. They didn't say no because they assumed that the trouble would come to them. But with me, it was never the case. I just go to someone else, right? So I never really bullied people. I took my anger out on people. That's different than bullying. I think bullying, I hate bullies, by the way. I think bullying is picking on someone because they're weaker than you. Mm-hmm. I never did that, right? I just took anger out. And if you happen to be around when I was taking anger out, then that's what happened. But I never really bullied
Okay,
people.
so it wasn't like something you did every day?
No. Like, sometimes I say I was being a bully when I bothered those kids at the pool hall. But it wasn't really being a bully. It was me just being angry that my stick was broken, and now I'm gonna find someone to take it out of, and you just happen to be there. I stand up against bullies. I mean, even just the other day, I made a post. I saw a little kid on TikTok.
Oh, I saw that.
And there was no way I could not say something. Like, it was like, you know, the kid was being bullied. He's a little kid, you know, he suffers from some sickness where he can't really go out and run around. His bones are very brittle.
Oh, he'll break. Yeah, I remember
So it
saying
can
that.
break. And you know, I saw his post, it popped up on my feed, and I was like, man, I gotta stick up for this kid. I don't know him. I never met this kid in my life. But I don't like, it really makes me angry. So I stuck up for him, and I made a post about it and posted on my page, you know? And yeah, I'm gonna post that on Instagram next week too, because, you know, it's crazy, you know, people shouldn't be bullying people, right? When I was younger and I got into fights, I never picked the weakest guy. You know, I swung at the biggest dude. Even if I was gonna get, jacked up, it didn't matter, right? Because, okay, if I got jacked up by the big dude, no problem. But I never ever, like, picked on someone who was weaker, because that was, I don't know, man, that was just whack. It was like, you know, you don't hit girls, and you don't hit people weaker than you, and you don't fight people who don't want to fight, right? People who don't want to fight, just, like, I never did that. Like, you know, I know people did that. Like, a guy's scared and then they want to attack him. No, if he's scared, leave it alone. Like, so I don't know. My mindset, even though I was in a gang and I did bad stuff, it was just different. I was just different. I just, you know, I just thought, like, you know, it's not worth it. You know, to bully people, no. You know, scare people is different. I think scaring and bullying is a different thing. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I did scare people, but I never bullied people.
Okay, good to get that clear. I'll take that back.
Yeah.
But I think, for me personally, I think there's a difference between a bully and then somebody who knows of their capabilities, is confident, but decides not to take it all to the full extent, like you said.
Right.
A bully, for me, is somebody who concentrates all their quote-unquote skills or what they're capable of doing, but it's anger-based, it's emotional-based, it's without thinking of what's going to happen, who is this person that I'm trying to start trouble with, and where am I going with this?
Right.
But there's nothing wrong. Definitely, I like how you said stand up for whoever can defend themselves. Like that kid that put that post, they were actually trying to, they were doing something to ban his account and reporting his stuff, and he was crying, bro. Like,
I felt so bad, man.
Yes.
I saw it, and you know, I never do duets, ever.
I know.
Like I never do any kind of duetting on my page, on my TikTok, never. And I saw it, and there's no way I could not do it. It was like, I was like, I gotta do it. You know, I was like, I have to do this. You know, at least stick up, you know, for something that's right. You know.
You go and go to this club, get your life changed. Wow, people like me, I want to do it. You start going. At what point did that turn the tables for you and got you off the street?
I met a guy who came up to me one day and was like, hey, I'll pay you to play with me. I was like, what? And at this time, I was like kind of living in the streets. I didn't really have any money. He said, yeah, I'll give you $20 every time we play. And I was like, no, there's no way this guy's gonna give me $20. And I was like, really? He's like, yes, all right, whatever, you know. So I sucked, I wasn't good. But I mean, I was good at every sport. So I could hit normal,
okay.
just enough so that he could play, right? He used to visit New York City. He had a house near Hunter, which is like 2 hours away from New York City. And then he would travel in from Israel, I think. At the time, he was from Israel. And so I would play with him. And he would, you know, give me $20. And one day, a gun fell out of my bag, and he saw it. And I thought that would be the end of my $20. But it wasn't. He called me the next day. He says, hey, are we playing? Yeah, okay, let's play. And so, you know, and by this time, we had played a couple of times already, right? It's been a little while. And after we played, he says, hey, I want to invite you to my home. And I thought that was kind of weird.
After he saw the gun fall out?
Yeah, it was just weird. Like, why would you, in my mind, I'm like, why would you want to invite someone to your home who just dropped a weapon on the ground? Yeah. It's just crazy. So, but like I said, it was all about the $20. So I said, okay, whatever. You know, some people say, hey, you know, you weren't scared of him? Of course not, man. I was gangbang. What's he gonna do? You crazy? I'm always carrying a weapon. Like, I wasn't afraid of him.
Yeah.
I had no problem getting in a car, going 2 hours. I mean, I think if anything, it's more dangerous for him than me. So, you know, we go to his house. I meet his family, you know, and they have like a real family. You know, they sit together, they're eating dinner together. You know, they're passing the food to each other. Thank you, no please, yes please. It was like I was in the Matrix. It was like, what's going on here?
So that was new for you. Like you had never.
It was crazy. It was like
Wow.
people just sitting there, you know, smiling and eating and passing food. Yes, please. No, please. Thank you. And, you know, how's your day? And, oh, this is wild. Yeah, it was crazy. So I was like, all right, this is weird. And for me, it was weird. It was just like, this is weird. And I guess he wanted to show me what family was because he knew my story. I told him. I was always open about what I did. So he knew. He just didn't believe until, well, he believed, but he just didn't really believe until he saw that gun fall in my bag. So that put everything about my life into perspective for him, right? Because like I said, for most people, it's a TV show, right? Until you actually experience it or until you actually know someone who's experiencing it. So after that, he goes, hey, you know what? I know you really like the sport a lot. I really want to help you. So I'm going to pay for you to go to Germany to learn ping pong.
Just flat out.
Yeah. And I was like, what? And the only thing I knew about Germany was Hitler. And I was like, why is this guy trying to send me to Germany? What the hell's going on?
What did I do?
Germany. But like I tell you before, I always knew that there was always something better. Maybe this was it. So I wasn't going to say no. I was like, yeah, okay, let's do it. I think 99.9% of people in my situation at that time probably would have said no, right? Because it's crazy. You know, leave what you know, where you know, all your life to go to some country where Hitler's from. Like, it doesn't make sense. But I always knew there was something better somewhere, somehow. And I was like, okay, I want to do it. And that was the first step into getting out of the circle and getting out of where I was, right? Because, you know, we only know what we know. We only know what people show us, right? If they don't show you, then you'll never know. And, you know, I say, you know, I got to take this chance. And I did. And it was at the price of leaving everything else behind. I mean, in reality, when you look at it now, which was nothing, but back then, it was everything, right? Because I'm leaving my friends. I'm leaving the people that protect me. I'm leaving the people that I protected. I'm leaving the people that joined because of me. I'm leaving the people that got in trouble because of me. I'm leaving the people that's doing time because of me, right? So it's a hard decision to make.
Yeah.
But like I said, I always knew that there was something more, and I needed to take that. I need to take that chance when I got it.
I can't remember who said it, and I heard it somewhere along the internet, but we're always one conversation, one meeting, one moment, one hug, one kiss, one episode away from our life changing and for the better. In this case was somebody taking you to their home, and dude, that's a big, huge risk. Like, I don't know how many people would say, oh, gun,
Yeah.
you know what, this guy needs my help.
Yeah,
Let's bring him
come to my home.
Come to my home, to my kids, to my wife.
Yeah, crazy.
And I really want to capture what you just said, the way you described how you were sitting there and almost in slow motion looking at somebody smiling, asking their family member, you know, with love, with compassion, something that maybe it was new to you at that moment. How we take for granted gems that we carry for our life that somebody else has not even experienced, bro.
Yeah.
Like, that's amazing, and that's crazy at the same time.
Yeah, for sure.
How many people have you known that take for granted a position, and I'm gonna say this word, and I don't like using it, of privilege. By privilege, I mean they have a full support system.
Right.
They have somebody they can at least tell their problems to, and they'll get a non-biased opinion and advice that and guide them through the right way. They take it for granted. They think they're lost. They think it's in the end of the world.
Now, this is all the time. I've worked with a lot of kids like this, a lot, and I'm like, bro, you have no idea. You have everything in the world that you could ever want right now. You don't have no problems. You don't. Yeah, I've worked with a lot of kids like this, like, oh God, like a lot. Like, yeah. And I had to like, and I had to like set them straight. Like, I had to like, you know, I'm talking about in ping pong, like kids I've coached, kids that I've taken around the entire world with me and had to like set them straight and be like, listen, you need to respect your parents more. You need to understand that like not everyone has this. Like not even 40% of people, 30% of people have what you have right now. right? Flying first class to go practice ping pong in China. Like, bro, like were you crazy? Like, no one has this,
That's
right? The
true.
best no. So you need to understand, and you need to realize that, you know, what you have, normal people don't have this, man. So you need to respect it more. You know, it's crazy. That whole thing we were just talking about, it's deep. Because I'll tell you, I've worked with these kids, a lot of these kids, and they just take for granted.
Wow.
They take a conversation I had with a kid. I said, hey man, he says, listen, you know, you can be rich today and you can be homeless tomorrow. You know what his reply was? No, I can't. I own my home. Okay, bro, first of all, you don't own shit. Your dad owns it.
True.
But okay.
Facts.
But that's the mentality of some of these kids.
Wow.
Right? No, I can't. We own it.
We's a group, bro, and then that home is under one person.
Yeah. So no. Yeah. So one particular kid that I'm thinking about, I'm not gonna say his name, but you know, it was a big influence on his life. You know, when I met this kid was a disaster of a human being. Like, I met him at 13, and when I say takes everything for granted, I've never seen that before, because, right, you know, we grew up in the projects, we don't take shit for granted. You know, we gotta fight for every single thing we wanna get. You wanna eat, you gotta go grind for it, right? And here I have this kid who, whatever he wants, anything he wants, at any time, he can get it. Anything, it doesn't matter, whatever he wants. He gets to choose his dinners that are like over $200 each dinner, whenever he wants, how he wants, right? And yet gonna come and complain about doing hard work. Yeah, so, you know, it was a kid that I worked with for about 4 years, and he was a disaster of a kid, and I had to seriously, like, and physically, you know, show him that life is not always this good for everyone, bro. Like, you got it better than anyone I know, right? And now look at him today, man. This kid is like the most. It's crazy. Like, I saw him. I didn't see him for a while. He came to my club about 2 weeks ago. When I say mild manner, respectful, this is a kid who told me, "Yo, shut the f up." And I was like, bro, don't talk to me like that. Yeah, he was 13. 13, telling me, I was like, bro, when I was 13, I was having guns, bro. Yeah, listen. I had to put hands on this kid, like, for real, like, through the process of years. And now I saw him like 2 weeks ago. Man, I see this kid so nice, mild-mannered. It was like a totally different kid. I was like, wait a minute. What happened? But I know what happened. I happened. Because, you know, I was on top of him. I told him how to respect his dad, the same dad that's giving you every single thing that you want. How to respect your dad, you know, how to respect yourself, you know, and now he's changed. And when I saw him 2 weeks ago, I didn't see him for a long time. And I was like, wow, man, damn. That's what these kids need. You know, that's what I needed when I was a kid, right? And I couldn't get that. You know, that's what all these kids going through these crazy things. I mean, even the ones who have it all, they need that too, right? Because they have no sense of anything, right? So it's crazy. I just brought that up because it just came in my head. But yeah, and it's good to see now he's doing good. He's focused. He's before he was taking like all kinds of drugs. Now he's off of that stuff and he's very focused and not only, you know, physically looking good, but mentally sound, mentally focused, you know. Now I feel like, yeah, this kid's gonna go far. Like he has a good future.
Wow. How did it feel in here? Wow.
Oh man, let me tell you, it was crazy. It was literally, I could almost cry off of that. It was crazy because I'm telling you, it's a completely different person. Like someone I didn't know this person. I was like, wow, what's going on?
Where's that kid at, right?
Yeah, but yeah. It's good. So it just shows that, you know, it does work. You know, mentoring. You know, helping kids that actually need it. Because yeah, he had everything in the world. He had everything. And listen, every what's the word I want to use? Not physical.
Material?
Every material thing in the world this kid had. Every single thing, right? But what he didn't have was someone to say, bro, not everyone in the world has this. It's not that easy. Don't let this material stuff fool you. And put him in his place and let him know what it's like to work hard, right? Not every kid has that. So you can have everything and have nothing at the same time.
That really resonates with me because I'm a father now. I have a 3-year-old named Enzo, and you're a father as well, right? But as a parent, mainly as a father, we focus so much on providing that school, those resources, clothing, education, toys, blah, down the list. You want to give them the best for the things that we never had, but you just said something really, very strong. Like now, with the kids you're mentoring or training, you're being the role model that you wish you had.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure now, for your kid, you're being the father that you wish you would have had next to you.
Yeah.
How deep is that? I think we forget, we focus, and I don't think we do it with any kind of malice or bad intentions, but the essence, it should be the work ethic, the hard work. Are we teaching them how cruel and savage the world is if we don't intervene and teach them those lessons? So that's a very important thing you just brought up, passing along to our kids more than just materialistic stuff.
Right.
Ping pong becomes your life. You do all this. You now coach kids if they need it, and of course provides that kind of level and degree of guidance. But taking a step back, how did you play in front of 5,000 Koreans?
North Koreans.
North Koreans. Oh, sorry.
North Korea. Oh, you saw that video? That was the craziest thing.
Bro, I don't even know how you managed to pull that out. Honestly, I thought somebody was gonna lose their mind.
Listen, I thought I was gonna lose my mind.
I thought they were gonna say, "No, give me your passport. Not coming out."
Oh, actually, you don't have your passport.
They take it from you?
Yeah, you don't have your passport. You never have your passport.
So what do they take it at the airport?
No. So when you come from the airport and they bring you to the hotel, they take it from you at the hotel.
Who takes it?
Your guide, the person that's responsible for you. Yeah. You don't have so you don't have no Wi-Fi. You have no Wi-Fi. You have no cell phone service, and they take the passport away.
So you tour around the world. You're doing all these tournaments. You're playing professional. You end up in North Korea. Yeah. You get there, and they say, "Come on, give me."
Yeah. So you get there, you land. They check all your stuff. When you get to the hotel, so your phone's not gonna work, of course, right? Because it's not like you can get a SIM card. So that's not gonna work.
No Wi-Fi, no nothing.
And there's no Wi-Fi. So
what?
Yeah. So once you step foot in North Korea, you're cut off from the rest of the world. You're cut off, and they take the passport from you as well. A lot of times I'll say in my post, North Korea, the #1 most dangerous country in the world. Right? I like to say things in a way that gets people's attention. People go, "Oh, it's not that dangerous," and they'll name a country like Syria or somewhere else, and I'll say, "Listen, you guys don't understand what danger is. To most people, danger is either getting kidnapped or getting blown up, maybe a bomb hits. Like that's danger, right? But that's not the only danger. For me, that's not dangerous to me. When I was gangbanging, I've seen a lot of crazy stuff. So for me, that's not danger. What's danger is being in a place that I can't get out when I want to get out. That's dangerous. If I can't leave when I want to, if you're in Syria, if you're in Afghanistan, if you're in any of these countries, if you don't want to be there, get on the next flight out, right? In North Korea, you can't get on the next flight because you don't have a passport to get on the flight. How you gonna get on a flight with no passport? You can't. So once you step foot in there, that makes it dangerous because you know that there's nothing you can do if something went down where you could get away. Nothing.
So how do you get it back?
When you leave. As a matter of fact, I don't get my passport back until I'm on the other side of their immigration. They hand the passport to me.
So let's say you went there for a week, and you say, you know what, I'm gonna leave before the week, 2 days before. Okay, is that possible?
So here's the other part. When you buy a ticket, right? When you buy a ticket, they don't give you a boarding pass, right? So when I'm buying a ticket to go to North Korea, it's sort of I'm buying a one-way ticket. There is no return ticket, right? You don't have another half that says, oh yeah, you're returning on this day. It doesn't work like that, right? So you buy the ticket, right? You don't get there is no boarding pass, right? They tell you that person's gonna pick you up. The person comes, they bring you to your seat. The way you get back to America is that you have to tell your guide when you want to come back. So you say, okay, I want to go back on Thursday. The guide is going to arrange the flights. So it's almost like you're going on a one-way ticket.
Oh, wow.
On a one-way flight, right? There is no boarding pass that you hold in your hand, that you keep in your pocket. You know, I think everything there is kind of meant to make you disappear if needed.
Wow.
Yeah, that's kind of what it looks like. Yeah, it's no joke. And then, you know, I went there by myself. I went alone. I didn't go with anyone. Everyone in the world said, you're crazy, we're not going there. But, you know, I really wanted to do that diplomacy for world peace.
Yes.
You know, where you say I hugged the North Korean, right? So I was like, okay, you know, and this is where, like, growing up in that crazy life, coming from the projects, living that hard life, I'm not afraid of shit. I'm not afraid of nothing. So if you guys don't want to go, I know how dangerous it is. I'm going to go by myself because I've been through way worse than I thought I can go through there.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't know about the taking the passport thing. I didn't know about that. If I knew about that, I might have thought different, but I didn't know about this, right? Because nowhere in the documentary does it mention take your passport away. I didn't know about this. This was a shocker when I got there.
Bro.
So other than that, I was not afraid to go there by myself, right? Because I really wanted to do this diplomacy for world peace. And yeah, man, it was one of the most craziest things I've ever done in my life. Definitely one of the most craziest experiences I've ever had in my life.
Wow. So you land, they take your passport for this game. They score you, they take you to the place, right? I'm guessing, like an arena?
You can't go anywhere. So you leave, wherever you need to go, they're gonna take you. So I can't even walk outside my hotel. No, I can't. I'll tell you a funny story. I had been there for a couple of days already, and it was the same thing every day. Practice hall, tournament hall, practice hall, hotel, back and forth. Every single day, same thing. And I was like, all right, I wanna go out and just do something. And so right across from my hotel was a park, a big park. And I was like, oh man, I want to go to the park, right? So I tell my guy, hey, can we go out tomorrow? And I didn't say, can we go to the park? Because I didn't think I had to say, can we go to the park, right? The park's across the street. If I say go out, I guess, you know, go out means go to the park. So she says, yeah, it's no problem. So I'm very happy now we get to maybe walk in the park. I'm not stuck in this hotel all day. And so she comes to get me in the morning. I eat. Then we go downstairs. And we come out the hotel and we stand in front of the hotel where the cars kind of like pull in. And she gets on the phone, she starts talking. And I'm just standing there. And I'm like looking at her, she's talking, I'm looking at her. She finished talking, I says, hey, can we go to the park? She said, oh, no, sorry. It's forbidden. So I couldn't go to the park.
What?
Yeah, I couldn't go to the park.
So she tells you it's forbidden. You can't go to the park, and you're like, wait, I'm like 10 steps
Right there.
away.
It's literally right there.
Did she tell you why not? Besides it's
No,
forbidden?
she just says forbidden.
What did you say? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to get arrested. I mean, but you know, they don't explain stuff to you. They never explain in detail. I guess they feel they don't have to. Like for example, when I got onto the flight, I noticed every person on the flight had a pin. And they were wearing these pins right here. And the pins were pictures of either the great leader, current, or the father, or all three of them. So everyone had a pin, every single person, flight attendants, everyone on the flight. And I was like, oh, that looks cool. And I knew what it was, because I see it. And I wanted one. I was like, you know, I want a pin, right? You know. And so sitting down, and my flight attendant comes towards me, and I ask her, I says, hey, can I get one of those? No. Asking a North Korean citizen, can I get one of those, is I can't even explain to you what it's like. Like that pin is extremely serious. Every citizen has to wear it. If you lose it, it's a very serious offense. So it's very serious. She gave me the most dirtiest look that I've never gotten a look like this. Just looked at me, real dirty. And I tried to ask my guide about it. And my guide asked me, why do you want a pin? And I said, well, because if I'm in North Korea, I should do as North Koreans do. So, she gave me the nastiest look you could ever have in your life. Like, for me, the flight, the plane looked great. I was having a good experience. I was giving this 1-star airline 6.5 stars. When she gave me that, it became 0 stars. Like she just, it was not good. But like I said, I spoke to the guide and my guide asked me, why do you want this? And I said, well, when you're in North Korea, you should do like North Koreans do. I want to feel. And she said, oh, okay. And that was it.
You're not getting any still.
No. And hey, I never got the pin, but, 2 birthdays ago, my surgeon, he actually got me 4 pins for my birthday. How he got it, I don't know. But I do have in possession 4 pins in a box, white box, minted, and I just keep it there. And I got it for my birthday. So I finally got them years later, but I got them.
I wish you could take a picture like this and then tag the lady and give you the
Yeah,
mean
right?
mug.
It's crazy.
But so whenever you ask for the pins, she mean mugged you, as we call it. Yeah, mean mugging is a term on the streets.
Yeah.
And she didn't say anything. She just looked at you like you're beneath me.
Yeah.
You peasant. You're crazy.
Yeah, I was definitely a peasant. Definitely.
Wow.
I never got a dirty look like that. It was bad. It was bad.
Did you turn around and see who are you looking at? Because I know that ain't.
It was bad. It was bad.
Wow. So you go in there, you play your matches in front of 5,000 North Koreans.
Yeah.
So Wally, let me know, how was the ambience in that building with 5,000 North Koreans? What was the vibe? What did it sound like?
Man, it was crazy because coming out and you're so very different to everyone else, and you're an American, you're a Westerner, and before you guys get at me, because I know a lot of people don't understand, get a dictionary, look up the word Westerner, okay? I'm just putting that out there. Look up what it means. So everyone's looking at you. Everyone's eyes are on you. Each person, as you walk out, is and you feel the eyes on your.
That's a real thing. Yes,
you feel it.
Yeah.
You just feel it. It's surreal. And you come out and you hear these murmurs. I guess they call them murmurs, like these sounds that everyone's making at the same time. They're probably saying, "What the hell is this guy doing here?" Black guy, blonde hair, bleached hair, with lines in it, right? So, I come out with the umpire, another umpire, and the player. And, it's very nerve-wracking. Like it's. That's when I was probably maybe a little nervous, right? Because I watch a lot of movies. There's 5,000 of these guys here, bro. If they decided to just jump on me, who's gonna help me? Nobody. Not a single person. So I'm like, oh man. But it was pretty crazy. It was pretty crazy.
I don't know why I can picture you. If everybody tries to jump you, you go, Brooklyn. One at a time, just one at a time. Let's get it.
That's too funny.
So, I seen the video. You posted this on TikTok, and it went viral.
Yeah.
It went viral across all platforms. And you mentioned something in there that always stuck with me in that video, because you were narrating it as we would see it in the screen. Whenever you would make a point, you can hear like a pin dropping inside that stadium or that center. But whenever he would, everybody would go ballistic.
I've never in my life, in any situation, ever not had at least one person, not one person ever in my life, ever. This was the first time in the history of me doing anything where there was not one. How is it possible? Think about it. I get these comments saying, oh, I don't know why you expected anyone to root for you. Bro, what are the odds that if you're in there somewhere where there's 5,000 people, that there's not going to be at least one? Those odds are highly unlikely. One, Listen, it was, and you see in the video, you know, he made a point. Everyone clapped as if he won the world championships and the Olympics, right? I made a point. It was quiet. And you see, I added the cricket sound to it. The cricket, because it was quiet. There was nothing, like not one person, nothing.
And so whenever you don't hear nothing and you're there, well, what goes through your mind?
It becomes real. You're like, holy shit. You're no one likes you, bro. Like no one likes you here at all. No one's gonna root for you. Not one person's gonna say anything. And of course they can't, right? They can't really root for me. But I mean, I've been in countries like China, all these other countries, and people will clap for you. You know, you make a point. You know,
whatever.
Because the thing is, I'm the underdog. He's not the underdog. He's better than me. So shouldn't they at least give a few cheers? You know? No. It was crazy. It was really to the point where I started to get upset. I started getting angry because, you know, there's two kinds of cheering. There's cheering for your guy, which is fine, and then there's cheering against someone, right?
True.
And when you cheer against someone, that's becoming belligerent. Like they're starting to really like, really loud. It's not that necessary. You don't need to be that loud. Like, it's you know, this is not the final point of the Olympics. This is just a point, right? But it was so loud to where I couldn't concentrate. And I started to get pissed off a little bit. And in my mind, I really wanted to yell, shut the fuck up! Like, my head was exploding. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to just yell out, shut the... And I started to think, like, things playing scenarios in my head. And then I remember my purpose, why I was there. You know, I wanted to do a diplomacy for world peace. I had no plan. I went to a country solely to do a diplomacy for world peace with no plan. I didn't know how I was going to do it, right? How do you do a diplomacy for world peace, right? Yeah. What's the recipe, right? But, you know, I really believe in the manifestation. If I really want something, I take that action. It's going to happen. It'll find a way if I really believe in it. And I remembered my purpose was to do this thing for peace. So if I started yelling, shut the fuck up to people, then I would have went there for nothing.
That's true.
And so I just looked up and smiled. And parts of the video, you can actually see it. I looked up and smiled, and I went like this. And when I smiled, there were a little bit of smiles and a little bit of kind of laughter coming. And I was like, oh.
Gotcha. Got him.
This is different. So I focus more now the audience than the match. And I would look up again and smile, and then people would smile. And then I heard like these chuckling, and I was like, okay, I got them. Like they're like we're vibing right now. So this is where my diplomacy is gonna happen. This is where it's gonna start, by connecting with the audience. So now I found the means of how I was gonna do this was to connect with the audience. So I started doing this, connect with the audience laughing, I'm laughing. I look up, I'm smiling, they're smiling, I'm like, oh, this is really cool. Then at the end of the match, as you saw, you know, I wound up losing the match, and then the guy comes to shake my hand, and he really doesn't want to shake my hand. And I love to talk about this, because even in my TEDx talk, I talk about this. I says, you know, when someone wants to shake your hand, the hand and the body comes as one, right? Yes. It's one motion, body, hand, together. That means I want to shake your hand. If I don't want to shake your hand, what happens is my hand comes first, my body stays back, right? And I lean out because I don't want to really be a part of this, but I have to be a part of this. So I'm going to give you the hand, but I'm not going to give you the body, right? And that's kind of what he tried to do. And I actually don't even know what got into me, to tell you the truth.
Maybe just the vibe you were hyped.
He did it. And I knew he didn't want to shake my hand. And I just grabbed his arm, pulled him in, and gave him the biggest bear hug he ever had in his life. And people cheered. Like, you could hear it.
Yeah,
like, they cheered, which is crazy, right? Because they didn't cheer one point that I made.
But they cheered the hug.
But they cheered this hug, a hug that he's probably never had in his life, right? And that made everything that I went there for a success, right? Because not only did the crowd cheer for the hug that I gave him, right? But in my camera, you could see him smiling. right? Now, if you think about everything you've ever heard of North Korea, I don't think it was in his best interest to smile when an American gave him a hug,
Yeah.
right? So if that's a fact, then that means that smile was genuine, right? That means that was a smile that he couldn't control himself because he's human, right? And that right there made everything worthwhile. All the craziness that I went through there and just the stress of just being there, you know, that made it worthwhile to show that, look, they're human, just like us. Doesn't matter what our governments say about each other. That doesn't matter. But they are human, just like us, right? And, you know, people go, oh, you know, yeah, you went there and, you know, you tried to change, you know, you tried to change the world and you didn't do anything or whatever. Listen, I always say this every single time. I say it every time. And it's going to sound crazy at first, but hear me out. It's not our job to change the world. This is a misconception. It's not our job to change the world. We don't change the world, right? It's our job to plant the seed to change the world. You can't change what doesn't want to be changed, no matter what. I don't care who you are. If they don't want to be changed, you cannot. But it's our job to plant the seed. We plant the seed for change, right? And then hopefully that seed grows into change. So by giving him this hug, it may sound like it's a small thing. It's a huge thing, right? Because first of all, he's never been hugged like that. Second of all, I'm sure their people has never seen a Westerner hug their guy after just losing a match. I lost, right? And I still hugged the guy, you know, still showed him love, still showed him respect, right? So whatever they were thinking, oh, Westerners are evil, they're the devil. I don't think that's the actions of the devil. I don't think that's the actions of someone who's evil. I don't think that's the actions of someone who wants to hurt you, right? I think that's all the opposite. And that's how you plant the seed. So next time the government says, oh, you know what, they're this, they're that, someone says, well, you know what, I remember that crazy black guy with the yellow hair and the weird lines in it who hugged our guy after losing the match, who showed us respect by looking up and smiling at us, right? This kind of stuff they can never forget. You can't forget this. You're always going to remember this for the rest of your lives. And that's how you plant the seed for change. So, yeah, did I change anything? No, but that wasn't my intention. It's not to change. My intention was to plant the seeds, right? To show them something different, something that they could say, well, you know what? Not all Westerners are like that. Or, you know what? We're all human. We all should love each other. Or whatever it is you want to say. Just to plant that seed to make someone think different, give them something different so that they can think different. And that's why I went there. And it was a huge success. So I was very happy with it.
Wow. Really just goes to show that everything that you lived through in that very moment, the moment you clicked, the moment you recognize the vibe and planting the seed, has almost, now I don't want to say accidentally, but it has turned you into this very inspirational, motivational person. Having lived all that and now in the journey that you're in, what motivates you? What inspires you today after you living all that?
Kids, younger generation, the younger kids inspire me, right? Because, you know, I want to see them do well. I want to see them be successful. I want to see them come from whatever dire circumstances they have and get to the next level. So kids really inspire me a lot.
Well, so, and like you said, we plant the seed, right? And it's up to the youth and it's up to many generations to hopefully put their contribution and create a big change, right?
Exactly.
Because that change only happens through repetition. And unfortunately, when it has to do with a whole country or a whole group of people, it takes years. And that's just a 1 day, 1 month thing. Wally, now that you went through this crazy journey, you are a dad yourself now. I know that you like to always be that good reference and role model for others out there. Any advice for any parents out there that are having difficulties communicating with their own kids or they don't invest good communication on their kids? What would you tell them?
I think the best thing is to really listen to your kids and not just hear them. I think a lot of times parents only hear. but they're not listening. Like they're not really listening. You know, I do a lot of work with kids who suffer, who have PTSD from family trauma. I do a lot of work with these kids, and the number one thing that I hear always over and over and over and over is that my parents don't listen to me. They don't listen to me. They don't listen to me. And listening comes in many forms. I'll give you an example, the most simple example. Let's say you made some food for your child, and your food says, oh, I don't want that. And what do parents, where we come from, say? No, you're gonna eat that.
Yeah.
Maybe that makes their stomach hurt, right? Maybe that makes them feel sick, right? So take the time to actually listen to the reason why they feel or why they're acting the way they act. And that starts from a young age, right? You can't wait till they're 15 and be like, yeah, you know, no, from a young age, right? And that's the biggest problem. Parents need to listen more. Listen to just because you're a parent and you're old and you're older, yeah, you have some wisdom, right? But you're not in your child's mind, right? You can't feel what they're feeling, and you can't judge the way you felt when you were a kid to the way they feel now. It's totally different. So I think more listening and more understanding why they're acting the way they act or why they're doing what they're doing. And then you take it from there. I think that's the most important thing that I can say.
Something that I believe in, and then I've lived it through many years of me committing my own mistakes, is that as parents especially, we do a horrible job at this. We not necessarily always listen to understand. We listen for our turn to speak. That means we always listen. As soon as that person finishes the sentence, without even really digesting what they said, we're just gonna answer.
Yes.
And because I'm trying to drive my point, I'm not even trying to comprehend where you're coming from. And that's a good example that you said. Asking, okay, why don't you wanna eat this? Why don't you wanna go? And I hate to put this example. Why don't you wanna hang out with this family member? Right. Well, they're making me feel uncomfortable because they do X, Y, Z. And
right, exactly.
Things come to light, right?
Yep.
We find ourselves currently in Spin, New York, which is one of your babies here, per se. It's a table tennis club. So how does Spin happen? If I'm in New York and I want to come experience this, how can people come and share maybe even times with you?
Yeah, I mean, we started this from a party from our apartment that grew really big. And yeah, man, we wanted to take the seriousness away from the sport and give people an experience, something fun, you know, great food, great drinks, great ambiance, great music, along with ping pong, you know, an activity to party with, right, per se. And yeah, man, it's really great, and you know, we're doing well. We're having a fun time doing it, and you know, we have 9 locations throughout the country. The one we're in now is called the flagship location.
Okay.
Been here, it's going to be 15 years, the 23rd Street location. And I'm easily reachable. If you come in and you see me, just come say what's up.
you know it, Wally Green here, yes. Spin, New York. Spin is one of the many things that you do. What's next for Wally? What's in the back of that stove? What's cooking?
I got 2 things. I got my book and my documentary. So those are 2 things I'm working on right now to finish. I do have a couple of 2 film companies wanting to do a featured film about my life story.
Okay.
So let's see how that goes. You know, with those things, you never know. It's just a lot of talk until I see something, you know, in writing. Then I can talk about it. But for me personally, will be the book, documentary, and a lot more speaking gigs. That's my new thing now.
Well, everybody, thank you for joining us. Wally Green, professional table tennis player, TEDx speaker, entertainer, awesome guy, outspoken, gangster, all of the above. Wally Green, thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing this crazy journey that you've been living and that you'll continue to contribute to. And I'm really looking forward to that next stage in your life.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate you, man. It was great. It was great.
Once again, I'm your host, Jacoppo Balderrama, but you can call me Jaco. Started Motivation, and we want you to think about that. Peace.
Peace.